Some stores plan on opening on Thanksgiving, and a lot of people think that's just terrible. I don't. I really don't. I really don't give a wet slap one way or the other. Is it really so bad that some stores want to open on Thanksgiving? If you work at one of these stores, how do you feel about the prospect of working on Thanksgiving Day? Let me give you the number right off the bat here. 663-1270, 663-1270. Hello. Jim Walsh on Supertalk 1270 and supertalk1270.com. It's the bi-monthly thing, or is it semi-monthly thing, we call Bizman Weekly, where we talk about the burning issues of the day. Things affecting life here in good old North by God, Dakota. Now, the Target store, I like Target. I like Target mainly because Target to me has a great advantage in that they're not Walmart. Okay. Well, Target announced, we're going to talk more about Target later on. Found this article on the web about supposedly how you can save a bunch of bucks at Target. And none of this, by the way, is a paid commercial for Target. I want to say that up front. But Target announced on Monday that it will open on 6 p.m. on Thanksgiving Day, joining a growing group of retailers who have decided to open their doors on the national holiday and requiring employees to come and work and staff shifts. The Gap, JCPenney, Kmart, Kohl's, Macy's, Sears, Staples, Toys R Us, and Walmart are also open that day. Well, Walmart is pretty much open every day, right? Every day, I think, except Christmas and around here early on Sunday morning, because that's the Lord's Day. We can't have them open on Sunday morning because that's the Sabbath, and this is a Christian nation. We know that because that wonderful Duggar family said so on the television. So, but aside from that, of course, Walmart is pretty much open. They'll be open past, the apocalypse. The dust will be clearing, and the only thing left will be cockroaches and Walmart. Anyway, they love me over there, yes. Anyway, there may be a lot more stores to make the same decision. 12 national chains joining in. Other stores are taking a different approach. They have decided to let their workers stay home. And, of course, they're making a big deal out of this. But let me point something out to you right now. All these stores that are telling you how great they are because they are closing on Thanksgiving Day to give their families time to be home to give the workers time to be home with their families. Listen, it's all about marketing. That's all it is. These are stores that decided for whatever reason, and it purely has to do with business, and I'm fine with that, by the way. They decided that they did not need to open on Thanksgiving Day. And what they're doing here, and so many of you guys are buying into this, what they're doing here is they're marketing themselves, they're promoting themselves by basically saying, hey, look how great we are. We're not going to open on the holiday and make people work like those other heathen stores, our competition down the street. They must not love the baby Jesus. Or words to that effect. They may as well just say that because that's the basic sentiment they're pitching here. But don't forget, these stores are all in business to make money. When they tell you stuff like that, they're not doing it purely out of the goodness of their hearts. Just because somebody tells you what you want to hear does not mean that they are in any way your friend. Now, these stores make a big flap about this. They're just doing it. It's just marketing. That's all it is. Now, these stores, we're fair to our employees. We're gonna close on Thanksgiving Day so our people can be home with their families. Here's the translation. We decided for purely economic and business reasons that we're not going to bother opening on Thanksgiving, and we know some other stores are, so we're going to try to, get our little digs in as a way of kind of promoting ourselves. And, a lot of people buy into this crap. They'll think that we're wonderful people, and they'll be more likely to spend our dollar here. You see how it works? All right. I'm just saying. Don't let them insult your intelligence if you have any to insult, all right? But the question is it really so bad that some of these stores want to open on Thanksgiving? I don't really think it's that big a deal, really. It doesn't bother me. I have worked many Thanksgiving days. I have worked on Christmas Day for many years. As a matter of fact, I can't remember the last time I had off on Christmas Day. Don't bother me none. Let me tell you something about being with your family on the holiday. There are plenty of people, despite what you may want to believe, buying into the old okey doke about family and holidays. There are a lot of people out there, and I am definitely among them, who hate the holidays and really don't want to be sitting around home twiddling their thumbs with their families. Now, I like my family, most of them. I certainly love my wife. I like my cats. I have many wonderful friends. But let me tell you something. I don't like holidays. The last thing I want to do on a holiday is sit around the house. I'd rather work. I really don't mind working. I'll be happy to work on the holidays. I'm just saying that not everybody buys into this thing that you have to make a big deal out of a holiday just because if it's a page on the calendar that somebody decided had to be important. Then Christmas, same deal. And, for years I was one of those people, I can't work today, it's Christmas Day. And then I got a little older and I thought, it's just a day. It's just a day on the calendar. If Christmas is supposed to be in the heart, then, you celebrate Christmas when you're good and ready to celebrate Christmas. And you don't worry if you work on Christmas Day. I've worked many Christmas days. It's not a big deal. You just move your Christmas to the day before or the day after or whenever. If Christmas is important to you, you celebrate it in your own way, on your own time, when you can. Because if you're the kind of person who's really making a big issue out of stores that are open on certain holidays, all I can say is you've got way too much free time on your hands. Maybe you'd be better off at work. So, maybe you're one of those people going to have to work on Thanksgiving. How you feel about that? Number here, 663-1270. Love to hear from you. Bizman Weekly on Super Talk 1270 with me, Jim Walsh, and you. Love to hear from you. More conversation, your calls coming up.
Right now, 12.
You're never more than a few minutes from a weather update here on Super Talk 1270.
Yes, we are into November, and you know what that means. We got to start thinking about that day. I don't like that day. I really don't like that Christmas Day. See, I look forward to working on Christmas. Mainly so I don't have to think about the fact that it's Christmas. Super Talk 1270.
From early in November to the last week of December, I got money matters weighing me down.
Hear, hear.
Well, the music may be merry, but it's only temporary. I know Santa Claus is coming to town.
Oh, boy.
In the days I work my day job, in the nights I work my night, but it all comes down to working man's pay. Getting ready, yeah, I'm getting ready for Christmas Day.
Getting ready for Christmas. Now let me tell you.
Target, among other stores, is going to be open on Thanksgiving Day. And that's got a lot of people all worked up, all miffed and twittered because, God forbid, they're going to open on the holiday and people won't be able to be at home with their families. Has it ever occurred to these people that some of us don't want to be at home with our families, especially on the holiday? So if you got to work on Thanksgiving Day, well, how do you feel about it? Let me ask you. Number here, 663-1270. I'll be okay. Really, I'm fine. All right, Target announced it's going to open 6 p.m. on Thanksgiving. That's not even so bad. Most of the people I know, they have Thanksgiving dinner early in the day anyway. When I was a kid, we always had Thanksgiving dinner around 2, 3 in the afternoon. By the time 6 o'clock comes around, and the reason is you want your evenings for football or whatever, or if you have to work, you want your evenings free, and that's fine. So Target's going to open in the evening on Thanksgiving Day, and that's fine. What's wrong with that, really? But listen to the comments that some people are making about this. I came across I found a website, one of these feel-gooder, hefty lefty websites, and had the usual nasty, snippy comments. Never shop on the holiday. We are a country based on greed. Another one. Let's see. That's capitalism at its finest. Fat cats get to enjoy the holiday while their workers are coerced to sacrifice time away from family. By the way, what about the state employees who have to work on holidays, what about the people, the utility people, to make sure you have the electricity so you can watch your football game on Thanksgiving or your college basketball game on Christmas Day? Isn't it a shame that they have to be forced to work on the holidays? They should get to stay home too. You don't need power for Christmas Day. Make it an old-fashioned Victorian Christmas. Just light some candles. Fire up the old coal burner, just like the Cratchits, and sit there and shiver all day because those people, by gum, are entitled to a day off, right? We'll see how well that works when they start doing it. But yeah, so they've got all these websites where they're urging people to boycott the stores that are open on the holidays because they're exploiting their workers. Oh, shut up and stop whining. I've worked on Thanksgiving. I work on Christmas Day. You know what? It's no big deal. It's really no big deal. You got to work on Christmas. Boo-hoo-hoo. You know this is right here? Listen to this. That's the world's smallest violin, guys, and it's playing your tune. Because if there's anybody I don't feel sorry for, it's somebody who gets to earn a living working on Christmas Day. Where do we get this idea that the whole world has to come to a grinding halt just because of some arbitrary number on a calendar? I've worked many holidays. Don't bother me none. You know why? Because it goes with my job. You work for somebody and they're going to make you work on Christmas. You know what? You have an option. Find another damn job. And by the way, we live in North Dakota where supposedly we have all these jobs available to everybody and this big demand for people to fill these jobs. You would think there'd be a lot less complaining about this kind of thing, but no, I guess some people just can't get up in the morning unless they have something to gripe about. So you got some stores that are open for Thanksgiving. You've got some stores that are closed. And of course, the ones that are closed are all taking pot shots at the ones that are open, trying to make you think that they're doing it because they really care. No, they're doing it because of business. It's in their best interest. They've decided that for them, the best thing to do is not open on there are some religious, in some cases you have the religious thing. The owner has religious reasons, like Chick-fil-A closing on Sundays and all that business. But most of the time here, and even a lot of those places, if the pressure to do it were sufficient, they'd probably open on Sunday and on the holiday too. And the fact that they don't has nothing to do with them doing it out of the goodness of their heart so as not to exploit all the wonderful people who work for them. No, it's because it's just not, the numbers just don't add up for them to do it. Why am I telling you this? Because people are getting worked up, and there are actually people who believe this garbage when these stores say, we're closing on Thanksgiving Day to give you and your family a chance. Oh, shut up. I'm not buying it. And you shouldn't either. Do you really have a problem with stores opening on a holiday? Even if you work, especially if you have to work on a holiday. You work, you work. You know, I grew up in a household where my dad was a bricklayer, my mother was a nurse. Generally, Dad had holidays off because he had the strong union thing. Plus, when you're working outdoors in the wintertime, the weather can be really crappy around Christmas, as we all know so well. But Mom usually worked on Christmas Day, and she more or less did it by choice. She liked staying busy. For a lot of people like myself, the worst thing you can do on a holiday is just sit around and do nothing. You know, just let the whole world come to a grinding halt. I hate that. I want to work on the holiday. I want to feel useful. I want to feel busy. I want to get back to the regular routine as soon as is humanly possible. For guys like me, the absolute worst time of the year is that week between Christmas and New Year's, when everything closes up, you can't get a thing done. You got to sit there and basically wait until January 2nd for the whole world to come back to life again. So with that being said, why are people making it to be such a bad thing to open a store on a holiday like Thanksgiving? Back to this site here, the Progressive Guide to Holiday Shopping. Well, you know, anytime you have the P word, you know what you're in for, right? I'm not a big fan of do-gooder lefty websites. Well, I'm not a big fan of do-gooder righty websites either, as you probably know all too well. I'm just not a big fan of people who stick their nose in other people's business. Those who open on the holiday say shifts are filled by volunteers, and that's quite often the case. You know, what they can't understand is the fact that a lot of employees actually look forward to doing this. They're not doing it because they're exploited or whatever Karl Marx said about it. They're doing it because they want to get a few extra hours. Maybe they're a little short, but they want to get a few extra hours. They like the overtime. And some people purely and simply don't want to be at home on the holidays. Why can't these people understand that? It's not all about terms of the exploitation of the masses and the proletariat and the... No Americans are guaranteed paid holidays off. Those in the service sector are supposedly less likely to get the benefit than the general workforce. Some Kmart workers reported last year that their requests not to work were denied. Well, let me tell you something. If you're working at Kmart on Thanksgiving, being there on the holiday is the least of your problems. I'm sorry. Somebody was telling me they had to work at Kmart last year. I think it was Thanksgiving. They had to be there at 6 in the morning. Well, I've done that too. I mean, I'm in radio, but I've had, I was a morning DJ for many years. I was a morning DJ. And many a year I had to come in on a Thanksgiving or Christmas morning at 6 o'clock in the morning because somebody had to do it. The alternative was there was nothing on the radio. And I knew that going in. And if you know that going in, if you got a pretty good idea going in, you're going into this with your eyes open, as you should, then you have no recourse to complain if they come to you and say, oh, by the way, we have you on the schedule for Thanksgiving Day. You really have no room to itch about it. You know what I mean? I think you do. So enough already with this complaining about people having to work on Christmas and on Thanksgiving Day and St. Swithin's Day and all these other holidays. It's just business. It's really not that big a deal. You don't want to go to the store on Thanksgiving, then don't go to the damn store. I mean, just stay at home. Leave me out of it. Because I actually might go to the store on Thanksgiving Day. Super Talk 1270, Jim Walsh here. Number is 663-1270. More conversation. Coming up, we're going to talk about that article we had on the website about the best pizza in North Dakota. We'll get to that and much, much more in just a few minutes.
Right now, 12.
Get the traffic and weather information you need anytime on Super Talk 1270 and online at supertalk1270.com.
By the way, happy Veterans Day to all the vets.
Now, get ready.
Looking ahead to the holidays.
And I want you.
I think Paul Simon pretty much sums it up for me.
I got a nephew in Iraq. It's his third time back, but it's ending up the way it began. With the luck of a beginner, he'll be eating turkey dinner on some mountaintop in Pakistan. Getting ready
Because with the beginning of November, we're basically into the Christmas season. Christmas for most of us nowadays is 2 months long. It begins the day after Halloween, and it ends the day after New Year's when most of us, go back to work. And people get worked up over having to work one particular day. It's just a day on the calendar, you know. You can find Christmas and Thanksgiving supposed to be in your heart, right? That's what they say. Oh, it's all in the heart, right? So, well, if it's in the heart, then, you celebrate, observe the holiday when it's appropriate, when it's convenient for you to do so. That's all I'm saying. All right. 663-1270, 663-1270. Jim Walsh, Bizman Weekly here on Super Talk 1270. Now, I want to ask you a question related to the hunting thing. Deer hunting underway, deer camp. We're not going to play the deer camp song. We're not going to do the 30-point buck. We're not going to do that. Now, I'll tell you why. And please don't think I'm trying to make a joke out of this, because I'm not. It's really not funny. But the question is, if you're a hunter and you hear about somebody getting killed, a hunter getting killed in an accident, as we had happen over the weekend, wouldn't that kind of put you off the whole experience? Wouldn't that, at that point, wouldn't you kind of say to yourself, it's really not the right thing for us to be out here after this happens. Let's go home, guys. We'll come back next year. We'll pick up where we left off. Is it really appropriate to have a hunting season if somebody dies and people keep on hunting? It's purely a gut level thing with me, and I'm not a hunter. All I can say is it doesn't sit right with me that people are still out there hunting in the wake of a fatality like that. So what are your feelings about this? 663-1270, 663-1270. We had that fatality on Saturday. We still don't know very much about what happened. We know a 15-year-old, oh boy, actually, 15-year-old, you're still a child, technically. 15-year-old boy killed in an accident Saturday morning. We still don't know much about what happened. We know there's going to be an autopsy. We know there's an investigation underway. And we know that there's, a lot of guys who would still just as soon be out there. And I just don't get that. I don't know. I don't really get the hunting thing, but I respect it. I mean, it's not my thing. My dad was not a hunter. He was a fisherman, big-time fisherman. We went fishing a lot. But my dad was never into the hunting thing, at least not when I knew him. He told me he did a little bit when he was younger, and he kind of lost the taste for it. But we'd go fishing a lot. And some of the best memories of my life are going out fishing with my dad at the beach on the East Coast on a Saturday morning or on a holiday morning, like Labor Day morning, be out in the Delaware Bay, out in the middle of the area, because we were saltwater men. We were saltwater sportsmen. Well, out there catching them saltwater fishies. Get a good ocean flounder for dinner. But we were never into hunting, so I'm not a hunter. I don't really relate to the whole hunting thing. That being said, I'm okay with it. I'm not against it. It's not an animal rights thing with me. I just question the appropriacy of continuing to have a hunting season after somebody gets killed. Just don't seem right by me. 663-1270. So if you're a hunter or you know people who are out doing it, how do you justify this? How do you? It just seems creepy to me. It's like I say, I don't really get the hunting thing, but aside from that, somebody was killed over the weekend. We had a fatality. And that's the main reason why I'm not doing a light, wacky, goofy show today about hunting. We're not playing the 30-point buck song or any of that silliness. Not doing that today, because I would otherwise, probably. But there was a fatality, and that just kind of, to me, that just kind of throws a darkness over the whole affair. And if I were out there hunting right now and I heard about this, I would, being the person I am, I'm not saying I'm better than anybody else, but it wouldn't sit right with me to be out there actually hunting when one of my fellow hunters had fallen and died in an accident here in North Dakota during the current hunting season. I couldn't handle that. I'd just say, guys, I can't deal with this. I'm going home. It just doesn't seem right to be out here after we've lost one of our own this weekend. Let's go home. We'll come back next year. Try it again next year. That's my feeling on the subject. I'd like to hear yours. 663-1270. 663-1270. It just kind of throws a pall, I guess is the word, over the whole proceeding for me. And I just don't, I again, like I say, I openly admit I don't really get the hunting thing. I mean, I understand the whole cultural and sociological, anthropological thing. It's a throwback to the days of the real man, to the days of the rugged individualist who really doesn't exist anymore. You know, we like to think that in a place like North Dakota, we're into rugged individualism. We're not. No state that elects a guy like Byron Dorgan to the U.S. Senate, not once but several times over, that is about as far from rugged individualism as you can possibly get. All right? Just saying. But I understand the kind of need to feed into the whole mythos and the whole lifestyle, and the guys feel macho. They get out there, and I know a few ladies who do it too. That's kind of weird to me. But hey, you know, that's fine. Go for it. I'm just saying that given the tragic circumstances of the last couple of days, I couldn't do it. I couldn't be out there knowing that some family was mourning the loss of their son, brother, whatever, here in the Peace Garden State because of an accident. And there always will be accidents, but it doesn't happen every year, obviously. Happily, it doesn't happen very often. But when it does happen, shouldn't we have some kind of appropriate expression of sympathy for the family? Shouldn't we just say, let's lay low, guys. I mean, it's just not right to be out here doing this when this guy's family, they have to deal with this kind of thing. A show of solidarity, if you will. I don't know. Am I full of beans here? Number 663-1270. Would love to hear from you. Jim Walsh here on Super Talk 1270. Okay, we got that one laid out for you. Now, something else I wanted to touch upon here regarding food. About the best pizza in North Dakota. This is one of my all-time favorite topics. I love to just, a couple of times a year, I love to just talk about nothing but food, like the best pizza. Who makes the best pizza in North Dakota? All right, the best hamburger in North Dakota. By the way, has any guys ever had a Juicy Lucy in Minneapolis? I keep hearing about the Juicy Lucy. They say, next time you're in the Twin Cities, got to go to this place, get a Juicy Lucy. Just don't bite into it right away. It'll burn the hair off your tongue. So let it cool down a little bit and then bite into it. It's like what? Like a couple of patties, and they take like a turkey baster or a hypodermic noodle, and they I know I'm making a joke. They take a hypodermic kind of thing, and they shoot the patties full of molten cheese, and then they fire it up, and then they serve it to you, and it's a big pile of cheeseburgers with the cheese in the middle, and it sounds great. I've never had one, but is it really? Does it live up to the hype? I guess that's the question. 663-1270. And while we're on the subject of food, a subject very near and dear to my heart, a couple of days ago, we were talking, we had a story on the website, supertalk1270.com, about where you can get the best pizza in North Dakota. And it had a picture of this big old dude with beer in one hand and a pizza in the other, and very little hair on top of his head, and he's way overweight, and he looks kind of like me, come to think of it. But the question is, where do you get the best slice of pizza pie in all of North Dakota? And we found a site called Thrillist. I guess is how you say it. Again, it's all on our website, supertalk1270.com. They came out with their ranking. The top honor, though, for the best pizza in North Dakota, a place I've never heard of called Rhombus Guys. They're in Fargo and Grand Forks and Mentor, Minnesota. And this is what they had to say. Uber popular locations serve up a killer T-Rex pie, smothered in Canadian bacon, pepperoni, sausage, beef, real bacon, and mozzarella. Now, I've never heard of this Rhombus place. The two places in town I kind of like, my wife and I. My wife loves Bruno's. She thinks Bruno's is magnifico. I like A and B because I'm more an old school kind of guy. You know, they've got that old school kind of pizza that I used to get growing up on the East Coast. So, I don't know. You ever tried this Rhombus Guys pizza in Fargo? And is it really the best pizza? I'm kind of suspicious of these gourmet yuppie pizza places. You know what I mean? Well, you tell me if I'm wrong. 663-1270. Jim Walsh on Super Talk 1270. This Man Weekly. More conversation, your calls coming up.
Right now, 18.
Get the app called Radio Pup for your iPhone and take us everywhere you go. Bismarck and Mandan's own Super Talk 1270.
I mentioned the article about Target, about ways you can save money at Target. Somebody sent this to me, and I want to get to this in a couple of minutes. We were talking earlier, of course, about the fact that Target is open for Thanksgiving, and hey, I'm okay with that. You got a problem with these stores open on Thanksgiving? Get a life. Yeah, fine. You really need to find something more productive to do with your free time. If you're sitting around getting all worked up over some store being open on Thanksgiving, and if you work at a store like that and you don't like it, hey, find another job. There's a lot of jobs out there. That's what they keep telling us, right? 663-1270. 663-1270. Before I get to the Target story, I've got a story here out of Moorhead. The City Council of Moorhead, Minnesota voted Monday against drafting an ordinance that would restrict where sex offenders can live in the area. The 5-3 vote appeared to signal the end to a discussion of several months on banning high-risk sex offenders from living within a certain distance from daycare, schools, and other places where kids congregate. The chief of police, who opposes such an ordinance, calls it strictly political, compared it to a nightlight that can comforts children but actually provides no real safety. Well, he's absolutely right. When this whole thing started back in the 90s, the so-called Megan's Law, and I happened to be living in New Jersey at the time when all that was going on, the original case involving the child named Megan Kanka, and they were trying to get this statewide law passed regarding notification to sex offenders. I remember thinking, it's feel-good legislation. It's the kind of thing that'll get passed because nobody wants to be painted as the guy who's in favor of little kids getting abused and exploited or hurt. But the fact is, it's a feel-good law. It's not really going to help anything. And unfortunately, I was right, as the case may be. Because here's what you're doing. When you tell sex offenders, you can't live here, you can't live here. Oh, and you can't go there because you can't live here. We're kind of dealing with that in town right now with that one building they want to tear down where all the sex offenders supposedly live, a bunch of them live. And they're going to tear down the building, and they're saying, where are all these people going to go? Oh, good question. Because obviously nobody wants them in their backyard. You don't want them in your backyard. I don't want them in mine. But the problem is, if you give them nowhere to go, what are they going to do? Well, they're going to do the one thing they know how to do, and that's get themselves put back in jail or in prison. And they're going to do that by, unfortunately, hurting somebody. So if that's not the answer, what is? Well, the answer is you keep your eyes and your ears open. You get to know your neighbors. You talk to them. You get to know them as well as you can. Keep your eyes open for the warning signs, and they are out there. And you do the best job you can in taking care of your kids and raising them to be careful and responsible, and, you do the best you can. But this whole thing, I think the people of Moorhead, the city council at least, they were absolutely right in shooting this down. Because all it does is it gives people, like you said, it's like a flashlight. Gives you that false sense of security. It's comforting, but it really doesn't help matters any. So I would say kudos to the City Council of Moorhead, Minnesota. All right. We're talking about Target, and this is not a commercial for Target. I'm just passing it along for what it's worth. This is what they're telling me. Check it out for yourself and see if it works for you. Secrets for shopping at Target that will blow your mind. These are helpful hints, supposedly, that will help you save bucks at the Target store when you're shopping there. Hey, let's all go shopping at Target on Thanksgiving Day. Just, those people like you worked up over, just go in there and go, hey, look at us. We're in Target. And they're open. And we're shopping. Hey! Because I'm just that kind of guy. Anyway, here's some helpful hints, supposedly, about saving money at Target. I'll pass these along for what they're worth. If they don't work for you, then don't shoot the messenger. Here we go. Number one, Target has a schedule for when it marks product pricing down. The schedule is as follows. On Monday, electronics, accessories, kids' clothing, books, baby, and stationery. On Tuesday, they mark down the following: domestics, women's clothing, pet supplies, and pets. Well, they don't really sell pets, do they? Well, fish, okay. Let me start from the top here. Tuesday, domestics, women's clothing, pets, and market food items. These are things they mark down. On Wednesday, they tend to mark down men's clothing, health and beauty, diapers, lawn and garden items, and furniture. Thursday, housewares, lingerie, shoes, toys, sporting goods, decor, and luggage. And Friday, auto, cosmetics, hardware, and jewelry. So whatever you're looking for, you want to save money on it, I suppose you could shop accordingly. The price tag will tell you, it's number two, the price tag will tell you what percentage the markdown is. If the price, the lower left is what you look for, it'll show the original price. And the upper right-hand corner, there'll be a little tiny number way up in the right-hand corner that will actually give you the percentage off for the markdown. Top right-hand corner. They don't make it easy to see, but it's there. Number three. If the price tag ends in 06 or 08, that means that the item will be priced down again. As long as there is inventory in the store, it'll probably remain on clearance for about 2 weeks. That's if it ends in 06 or 08. If it ends in 04, on the other hand, that's final clearance. It won't be marked down again. Guess you got to draw the line somewhere. All right. Ideas for saving at Target here. Number 5. Target enforces a limit on the number of returns you can make without a receipt, no more than $75 a year. Number 6, all electronics and entertainment purchases have a limited amount of time in which they may be returned or exchanged. You've got 30 days, basically, after you buy it. Let's see, number 7. Oh, there's a picture of the doggy there with the little Target thing on his eye. Isn't that cute? Number 7, beyond the 5% off the card gives its users, the red card debit and credit card holders get an extra 30 days to return nearly all items purchased with their red card at Target and Target.com. Okay, this is starting to sound like a commercial. Let's get to the nitty-gritty stuff. You can return purchases by mail for free. Okay, the rest of it is starting to sound more and more like an ad. Let's see. Okay, here's some useful information. If you pay with a check, you have to wait 10 days before you can get a refund in cash. Let's see here. The Target app gets 10 or more new coupons every week. Let's see here. And the rest of it, if you find an item on sale, you can get a rain check. Well, you can do that in just about any place, get a rain check. You can turn in bags, get 5 cents for each bag. Did I get the right? 0.005. Yeah. You can find brand new Target merchandise for low prices at Goodwill. You say, I didn't know that. Goodwill Industries. And, okay, that's the basic information there. I would say go forth and prosper. You know, sometimes you read these things and it starts to sound like a commercial, so we skip over the more commercially sounding ones and try to get down to the nitty-gritty and get the actual useful information to help you in saving your... Yeah, like I say, next time you go to Target, preferably on, I don't know, go Thanksgiving Day. They're open at 6 p.m. And we should all go together. And then we'll go to Walmart. I don't like Walmart, but we'll go there just to show them we're glad they're open on Thanksgiving. Giving all those good folks a chance to go somewhere instead of sitting around at home with their stupid relatives on Thanksgiving Day. And if you think I'm making a joke, I'm not, because that's pretty much the way I feel about the situation. All right. Comments welcome. Supertalk1270.com. If you like us on Facebook, we'll like you back. You get qualified for all kinds of good things. So by all means, check that out. Facebook.com/Supertalk1270. Jim Walsh for Supertalk 1270. Another edition of Bizman Weekly. A special Friday edition happening. Gee, what day would that be? Friday, of course. Hang in there. We'll talk to you then. Have a good week.